with another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. If this is your first time listening, my name is Owen. I am your Shard Break Kid. Along with me tonight is my good friend Duncan. He's the king of bong style. And joining us for the first time on the show from Happy Hour with Johnny and Duce, Mr. Polk County himself, Duce is on the loose with us, baby. Yeah! He forgot the unmic. He forgot the mute.
He sure did. He pulled
forgot
the
the mute. He pulled the Duncan. I knew it would happen.
Oh, damn it. You knew it. You knew it would happen, brother. But
Sure did.
Let me tell you something, brother. Oh, yeah. When the mega powers unite at the Happy Hour and Johnny and Duce with the Oh No radio show, let me tell you, brother, the cream is going to rise to the top.
I love
and you
it.
tap into it just like you can a Slim Jim.
Have you seen they've started actually marketing the Slim Jims again with Macho on them? Like
Yeah, they're called the Savage Slim Jim.
Yeah, are they bigger? Do you know? Is there ever?
Yeah, they're 3 times the size.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to hop into. I'm gonna have to look out
Go
for
to
those.
Wawa. You can find them at Wawa, 7-Eleven. I've seen a bunch of different places.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Duce. It's super nice to have you. You've been a fan of the show since we've kind of relaunched, I would say, in the last couple of months. And you've been super active in the group. We thank you for it. And since our good buddy Matthew the Maharaja could not be here right this second, maybe he'll join us later tonight. We don't quite know yet. But since you couldn't, perfect time to have you on the show. And we thank you for joining us, my friend.
Well, thank you, man. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I brought my Freedom Flap along with me, and, man, it's time to rock and roll, baby.
Yeah. Mine's coming in, too. I don't know if you can see it here. But,
Oh, yeah, man. You're getting it. You got your starter mullet going, man.
Yeah,
You got your training wheels mullet. We'll get you there, buddy. We'll get you there.
It's a baby right now, but it's coming in. It's coming in. Yeah,
It's
how's
so
your
good
mullet?
that the hair.
How's your mullet doing, Duncan?
Yeah, it was like the mullet that I had when I was 15, bro. You've seen those pictures. I can show them to you again. Don't you worry. Also, but like in my youth, it was the rat tail. That was the exquisiteness of my white trash.
I had a
Was in the
rat
form
tail
of-
as well. How did our parents even let us do some of that stuff? I mean,
I think my mom was just like, "You're gonna have a rat tail," and I'm like,
okay.
Why was that a thing?
I don't know. But
And then did your mom keep your rat tail for like in a drawer or some shit like for years?
No, my mom's not into voodoo, so no,
That's just us.
Yeah, that's just you.
She didn't put it in the pot when she sacrificed the goat.
Don't think so. No.
All right, man. Well, look. All right, I'm gonna have to get serious because like clearly your childhood was fucked up.
I guess so. Well, we got Detroit and Polk County here, so two of the places that I think you're gonna find the best rat tails on the planet, or mullets for that matter.
For sure.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, what's been up, Johnny? What's been up, Duce?
Not much, man. Just working hard. Been listening to you guys' show like crazy, man. I absolutely love it. I got a lot of wrestling shows in my rotation, but I'll tell you what, guys, yours is the only one I listen to when it comes to current news on wrestling, because you guys got your finger on the pulse. You got a great show, and it's an honor and a privilege to be on with you guys tonight. Just seriously, from a good brother to a good brother.
Appreciate that. As we are
Definitely
known,
appreciate that.
as we are known,
Yeah.
Duncan, we're fine. Like only the finest of wrestling journalism comes on.
No,
this
we are.
program.
We are in fact the greatest of all wrestling journalists. I don't want to break it to anybody, but you know that half of the shit that fucking Uncle Dave says he gets from us.
Yeah, he comes
Like,
to
it's
us
just-
first, and then
It's just a fact.
Mhm.
Well, you get more shit right than Uncle Dave does, so you got that going for you.
Well, I mean, in fairness, there's a few people that we get it more right than, and I think it's accidentally most of the time.
I absolutely agree. So let's just hop right into it. I'm going to say right now that what I'm looking forward to the most coming up, I don't think I've been looking forward to an event or a pay-per-view as much as this in quite a long time. This is going to be bigger than WrestleMania for me, and it is Talking Shop a Mania coming up this Saturday.
Absolutely.
God.
How did he mute himself again? There he goes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
There it is. Now here, my question.
Yes, sir.
Are you buying it?
Yes, I am going to buy it. I think
right.
even my unemployed ass can afford the $15. So
it's $15.
It's $14.95.
$14.99.
The best $14.99 in the business.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Fuck, if I could still afford high spots through all this,
then you can talk and shop a Mania, Fight
Sure.
TV. I think it's.
I wonder if it ends up on high spots. To be entirely honest,
Do they have any deals with Impact or anything? Because they got their own. They got their own service or something too. I want to say
Impact does, but
Yeah.
I think this is sort of an outside Impact thing. Like this
It
is
is.
definitely like this is an indie-fied son of a bitch.
But
like,
they're
this
letting
is-
them promote the hell out of it.
Sure, they are.
You know.
I mean, honestly, dude, Impact is like, you guys wanted to come back? Absolutely. You do whatever the fuck you want.
no, I'm
Like,
yeah. It's
you know,
mutual
very slim
mutual
parameters
beneficial.
on what they can do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But they're like, fuck yeah, you guys are already over. Keep getting yourselves over. Like, clearly one of the conditions of them signing would have been
Yeah.
Talking Shop on Mania that we've already filmed is going to be a thing. And if you don't like it, you can get fucked.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly. But, yeah, no, I have a couple of questions for you guys. Who do you expect to see? And do you think that we're going to maybe have a couple of little surprises, thrown in there?
I'm going to let Guess go first.
Well, I'm looking forward to see Enzo, but we know he's going to be there because he was in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we see Big Cass and something with the two of them. I think that would be dope. I know we saw Raven's Flock is going to be there in the trailer. I'm hoping Raven shows up. That'd be dope.
Yeah,
But-
that's a good one.
I'm just excited, man. Like I said, Duncan, your invite to my house, Casa de Duce, for the pay-per-view did not get lost in the mail. It got sent. It got sent via Owen because both of the good brothers were invited out to the house to watch it with us and have some brewskis.
Under different circumstances in the world, I think I'd be joining you 100%. But with everything going on, I think I'm gonna just bite the 15 bullets and watch it here.
Hey,
honestly.
I don't blame you, but that
15 bullets.
invite, yeah, that invite is always open to you guys for wrestling pay-per-views. But man,
That
I'm
invite is
excited.
much appreciated, my friend. I will say that.
Anytime, man.
I'm looking forward to it as well. If we're gonna see Enzo and Cass, I want to see Cass come out and kick the fuck out of Enzo.
Yes, I do as well.
Like, that's what I want to see. Like, I want Enzo to be out there running his mouth, and then I want Cass to come out and then get, like, I think my favorite part of that trailer was when the car pulls up and it's got woo in vinyl letters across the top, and like you just hear the commentaries like, and the motherfucker got woo across it.
yeah.
I can't.
I've heard a couple of things about it. I know Heath, as he's just now known, of course, is going to be there. Heath's apparently going to be playing multiple characters. I can only assume that pelvis,
The incomparable Pelvis Wesley
yes, he
shows up.
I assume that
the
that's
boner
gonna
yard
happen.
match.
Boner yard match. I mean, that's gonna be insane.
Dude, wait,
and beautiful.
Wasn't Rusev the sea monster?
That was always the rumor. We never actually figured that one out.
We didn't, but if it is Rusev
Oh, can you imagine if they
and
had
the sea monster shows up?
Oh, that's some good shit. That's some good shit, brother.
So
Not
I
as
just try. I'm like, who else haven't we seen? Right? Like, who else? Is
Zack
actually
Ryder.
released?
well, Zack Ryder was the woo that we were talking
Yeah.
about, so that's
Yeah.
obviously there. Maria Kanellis is in the trailer as well, so
Yep.
we won't
Mike
have
would be
to
assumed.
assume Mike is going to be there as well. And yeah, I don't know if there's maybe Kurt Hawkins, maybe.
I think they
He's
show
with
him in the
Impact,
trailer.
Did they
so
show
I
him in the-
think
They
that
show him
that
in the
would be-
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Like, he comes out with the mask, and I think he comes out.
That's
Oh
right.
no, that's Brian Hawkins.
is it.
I think we're talking about the same person.
Brian Hawkins is Kurt. Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kurt Hawkins is, I don't know what the hell is he.
Kurt Hawkins is Brian Myers,
That's yes. Thank you. Yeah.
and that person was in the trailer.
Then
See, kids,
okay.
sometimes You gotta just like take it back a little bit.
That old stoner brain, like,
man,
gotta just
gotta dial it in, my man.
It was a high anxiety morning. I'm still trying to recover from it. So we're dialing it in by talking about wrestling, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Hey, why not? Why
Amen,
not,
brother? Yeah.
I'll say this too, that in listening to the latest Talkin' Shop podcast, the Good Brothers did go ahead and say, guys, don't tune in for this for work rate matches here. Like, you're tuning in for this for a good old time. Like this is just gonna be it's gonna be a shit show, and it's gonna be a fantastically glorious shit show. Absolutely. I can't wait for it.
Dude, I love wrestling that's like a step above trash bag wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? Like actual professional wrestlers who can work, but who don't mind doing ridiculous shit in a ring, in a backyard, or in a VFW hall, or whatever. And man, some of the best matches I've seen have been like indie shows.
For sure.
And not just like the big ones, but like,
well, when it existed, bar wrestling was obviously that way, it had that vibe. So
bar wrestling put out some great matches that nobody's going to see anymore.
Yeah. And we were talking about that too. Like, can't they just, maybe edit around some of the Joey stuff and put those back out there?
He's usually in one match.
Right.
Like the show is not based around him. He was just doing it. Oh fuck! Do I have to cancel this shirt because I bought it at a bar wrestling show?
No.
I mean, I'm not going to.
You support you support the wrestler too. So I mean,
Dude, I love Brody. Brody's fucking awesome. Brody is straight edge me.
Yes, he is.
It's basically what Brody King is, and I'm just like, how are you younger than me, you son of a bitch?
Good segue though, Duncan, because if we're talking about Villain Enterprises,
I did that for Matthew. I segued for Matthew. I want that to be known.
Yeah. The king of segues.
King of segues.
He
King of segue style.
King of segue style. No, speaking of Villain Enterprises, you happen to run into one of said Villain Enterprises over the what was it, yesterday, the day before?
Last night.
Was it last night? Yeah. Time all runs together these days.
It's the most ridiculous shit. Like we are going into, because as we all know, I'm a gigantic Star Wars nerd.
Yes. And a bit of a Disney nerd as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at Hollywood Studios with my wife and my mother-in-law, and we were going into Star Wars land.
Mm-hmm.
And coming out, I see, and it was a low-key, like, Villain Enterprises hoodie. Like, it was a low-key, like, one of the, like, just the logo, the Villain Enterprises.
You'd have to know.
Right. And there wasn't anything on the back. And I'm like, interesting. And then a backwards Ring of Honor hat. And as it walked by, I was just like, Marty? And I, like, kind of called, and he turned and looked, and he was like, oh, and he recognized me.
Yeah.
Even in a mask, I'm kind of fucking hard to forget. You can't tell by me sitting on this couch, but I'm not a little dude. But yeah, so I was just like, hey, it's good to see you, whatever. He's like, oh, we just came off a Rise of Resistance. It was fucking awesome. We got stuck. And just like, I was like, I'm like, what are the odds that I'm like with my wife and Kelsey, who has met Marty multiple times every time I've met Marty as well. And
it's one of those weird things that you keep running into him. I ran into him the once in Baldwin Park, got a selfie with him and all that, and it's like,
I was like, hey, it's good to see you. I'll let you go. I was just like, I'm back in town. Holla.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's actually one of those guys that you feel like he might even like hit you up, and like, he feels like he's kind of just a genuine dude.
I mean, he came to my circus, so
that's true. He came. You got him tickets to see your show with Cirque, and you kind of made a bond that way, and it's like, yeah, you might be a little bit of a scumbag over there, Marty, but I feel like he kind of does. I feel like he's one of the few that we can kind of like, all right, it was shitty what you did, but you were young, and like, you know, people grow, and he didn't do anything illegal. And
my thing is like, it happened when he was 23. How old is he now?
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't have Matthew to look this shit up, so I have to be Matthew.
No, I can look it up. It's probably quicker for me just because I got the laptop in front of.
I mean, I have a laptop, but it's just so far away, and I have to reach.
Yeah, I can look it up.
Very high, and I just really can't be bothered.
1988, so he's 32.
Okay, dude. So almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years ago, yeah.
Okay, scummy. Yes,
but. If you don't know, Duce.
No, everybody
Duce,
knows. Do you know about this?
What?
Like, you know, yeah. See, Duce knows.
Duce knows.
Like, this is the thing. Like, okay, and this is the argument that, like, I don't know if we've ever talked about on air. Off air, we've had this conversation multiple times. It's Marty is just like, okay, this is the one where it's just like, was what you did illegal? Not technically. Was what you did scummy? Yes.
Yeah.
But like, at what point do you know what I mean? Like, where are lines, and when do you stop being punished for something that you did, you know, however long ago?
Almost 10 years ago. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No.
So
it's a tough question to answer, but at
I'm
the
not
end
trying to be a moral authority here. Like, far be it from me, but it's just like, I don't know. That's the one that I've been really kind of toying with or really like struggling with for me, because he's, I don't know, I've met him multiple times.
Yeah.
Right. And not just in like a, hey, I'm paying to meet you kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been a little bit of like, could I have been being worked? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know that. I don't know.
Seems like a nice guy. Like at the core of it, he really does. And I'll
did a dumb thing.
If more,
and we kept saying we're like, if more is there, then like that'll be a different story. But there's one time you fuck up when you're like
in your
and
early
make a
20s.
Dumb decision. And dude, in my early 20s, I don't even want to talk about how many dumb fucking and bad decisions I made, and I did, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's at a certain point you just kind of have to let bygones be bygones, let the guy just kind of move on with his career and life.
He's been handling it the best out of anybody who has been like part of the speaking out movement.
Totally.
And he, like, I don't know. There's some of the people that have been named are gonna go away and never come back. Some of them are gonna like go away for a little bit and come back and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or not fine, but like people will be like, all right, like, okay, come on, like make us love you again.
Exactly. Earn our trust back again.
Earn our trust back. Yeah. And it's just like, in the same way that like you're supposed to be able to be rehabilitated.
Sure.
If it's a one offense and you're not actively, like, if he was out dragging his accuser and pulling a Joey Ryan, it'd be a totally different story.
But he's not. He's been.
But he was just like, okay, look, this came out. This is what happened. And then he stepped back, and he hasn't been trying to make a name or anything, and hasn't been trying to, like, he's been trying to stay clear and let whatever happens. And like, there's no point in him necessarily maintaining a public persona while there's no Ring of Honor programming running.
Or NWA too, you know, because he's signed to both.
That's true. I mean, honestly, NWA, like, I don't know if I know you read that story. I don't know, Duce, if you read the article, and everybody listening that, you know, Stu Bennett basically said in an interview, he doesn't think that there will be another NWA show in the rest of 2020.
which is a bummer. Do you watch much NWA, Duce?
To be honest with you, I don't. Because if I remember correctly, it's on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just started watching stuff on YouTube live, and really only because of AEW Dark. So I hadn't been keeping up with it. But everybody says it's good. My big question mark is, why are you not running a show? Because you're on a closed set. I don't see why you can't do it.
That was my argument as well.
The wrestlers getting there is the problem. That's the only thing I could think. But
honestly, the wrestlers getting there was less of an issue before current times, when everything's, absolutely insane, especially any talent coming out of Florida.
Yeah.
I think that part of the issue with that too might be that some of those guys also, a lot of them are contracted with multiple things or work indies. So there might be some we don't want to take that risk, because we have other contracts as well.
I mean, but the indie shows haven't even started running until like 2 weeks ago,
recently. And most of them are outside social distancing type shows anyway. There
was one just, I think, on the fucking Jersey boardwalk.
Yeah, with Joey Janela, right?
Versus Lio Rush.
Yes. That was one of the things in my notes to actually talk about. Lio Rush being very vague about it, saying he's done, but who knows? That guy's kind of all over the place is a general rule anyway.
Thing is he's really fucking talented.
He is,
man. He's very, very talented.
23-year-old piece of gold.
One of those people that you want to just see kind of get their shit together, right? That's all you want to see. That's all I'd want to see out of Lio Rush. It's bro, just get your just get your shit together, whatever you need to do.
He's actually been pretty open though about his mental health issues too.
I
think he might be borderline bipolar and have situation there. So I would hate to see that be Lio Rush's last match, because even if it's not in WWE or even AEW, that guy has a lot to offer any promotion that he goes to.
Yes, and he deserves a better send-off
than that.
Not that wasn't a good match, but you know what I mean? He deserves he deserves to have barn burner matches with anybody who wants to have barn burner matches with him.
100%.
Come on. Yeah. It's a goddamn shame we never got Lio Rush versus Ricochet in WWE.
Oh, you're 100% right. You're absolutely right. Moving on a little bit though, Duce, I hear that you might actually have some questions for Ono Wrestling, me and Duncan here. So I'll let you kind of take the field and see what he's got, Duncan.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys. I got a couple questions for you, but to give myself a cheap plug real quick, you can find us at facebook.com/Happy Hour Podcast Show and soundcloud.com/Happy Hour Podcast for all of our older episodes. And speaking of older episodes of you guys, I'm new to the party. The first episode I actually listened of your show was the AEW Double or Nothing review. Because I love the show so much that I wanted to hear people talking about it. And behind the scenes, as we say on our show, Pull Back the Curtain, me and Owen actually went to high school together.
Yeah, we did.
So I was like, well, I wanted to see what Owen thinks, because me and him kind of are on the same wavelength a lot on that. So that's when I kind of came to know your show. But for new fans like me,
hang on, which Double or Nothing review was it? The most recent one?
The most recent one, yeah. The one with the Stadium Stampede, yeah.
Okay.
So my question for you guys was, what was the origin of the Oh No Wrestling show?
Duncan, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Because
it really is.
We started. Me and Duncan have been podcasting together. Duncan, when he originally lived in Orlando, when we first met, he was one of my first kind of co-hosts on Ono Radio Show. Me and Duncan then kind of had a spin-off show called Something Dreadful, or as a lot of our friends like to call it, Secret Feelings.
Secret Feelings.
That show ended up turning into, well, we're talking about wrestling for like half of the goddamn show and not even concentrating on what the show is kind of intended
More
to be.
than that, it was also, we were co-opting the Ono Radio Show with Wrestling Talk.
Yes.
And then we would sit around after the podcasts and talk about wrestling for at least an hour on top of having done a show for however long we had done it.
Yeah, and our co-hosts who have no interest in wrestling used to just kind of like get a little bit obviously perturbed.
They're like, "Are you fucking
God, this
with
again?
the wrestling show?" They're just like, "Would you?" Oh my god!
Yeah, I get it, man.
So yeah, and then I moved to Colorado.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, it's like, man, we don't really need to do a Secret Feelings podcast. It's just like, do you want to just talk about wrestling?
And it was also Duncan is responsible for getting me back into wrestling after probably about a 5-year hiatus. So he was my go-to, is to kind of like fill me in with what was happening, to get me back up to speed with a lot of stuff that I had missed. So that's what kind of the show's genesis was a lot of that stuff. And we just decided to say, screw the Secret Feelings podcast. Let's just basically turn it into Oh No Wrestling. And then in that whole process, Duncan met our mutual friend now, Matthew, who is just as big of a wrestling fan, of course, as us. Duncan, I think you even helped get him back into it.
Yes, I was going to say, I do what I do when I get my friends back into wrestling. Because I'm like, I don't know if you know it, but wrestling is fucking awesome right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, brother. Really? And I'm like, yes, come with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so Matthew hired me for my first job in Colorado.
Yep.
And then when I wasn't working in his department anymore, we could start hanging out. And so we would start hanging out. We have our own podcast, obviously. Nobody Cares, Go Harder. We would watch wrestling every pay-per-view. Matthew would be over at my place and we would be watching pay-per-view. And so, he one day was listening to and somehow it came up as just like, oh, was it the WrestleMania trip where we finally had him on, or had
no, because I had been, you had him on the show. We had been talking. I never met him in person.
That's it.
For ages. It was probably over a year that he was on the Ono Wrestling podcast before I actually even met him in person. And then, the rest is history. Now, we're all just buddies, and Matthew's part of the family, and
yep.
Yeah, like we took a little bit of a break just because life gets in the way with things, and we hadn't really done an Ono Wrestling show for probably, I don't know, it's quite a few months that we hadn't done Ono Wrestling. I want to say close to 4 or 5. We took maybe not that long, but
no, it was, we took a hiatus, but then somehow we always managed to do something. Like we took a hiatus and then we went to Vegas and covered StarCast.
Yes.
And if you haven't listened, you should go back and listen to our StarCast interview episode because it is fucking ridiculous. And nobody should ever let us interview people, especially professional wrestlers, ever again. I wish the LAX interview hadn't gotten fucked up, because like our go-to is, do you have any pets?
You have any pets? We ask them all the wrong questions. We just basically ask them like the dumbest fucking questions that have nothing to do with wrestling. Nothing. Like, what kind of beer you like, Glacier? You're like, you're Coors Light guy, huh?
Like Blue Meanie's trying to plug his guy. Yeah, right. And Blue Meanie's trying to plug his video game thing, and we're just like, Matthew's like, "Where'd you fly out of? Because I'm pretty sure you were on my flight."
And then they started like talking about the flight and how shitty it was and all this sort of stuff.
So like in essence, like that will, like, if you want to see what we are as people, especially when we're all together in a wrestling environment, go listen to that interview and the first Double or Nothing review show.
Exactly.
But it's been a sort of our passion podcast, right? Like we have our other podcasts, which are our main podcasts, but like inevitably we fucking love wrestling. Like I don't watch other sports. Admittedly, I'm like the least sports fan person I know until it comes to pro wrestling. And I'm just like, so we could watch WWE, and then we watch NXT, and then we watch AEW, and then we watch Ring of Honor, and we watch Impact, and then we can watch New Japan. And then when I get bored, I'm going to get fucking really high, and I'm going to go on the High Spots Network, and I'm going to watch all of this random, terrible indie wrestling. and a little bit of PWG because it's really good.
Oh,
you know?
Hell yeah. And so that's kind of how it started, and then we decided to kind of relaunch the show, like, you know, a couple of months ago, and that Double or Nothing show that you're talking about, I think was probably one of the first. I don't know if we were doing Twitch again yet by that point, or Twitch at all by that point on Oh No Wrestling. I don't think we were.
I don't think so. I think that was like right before.
Yeah, it was only
we were
2 or 3 episodes,
Facebook,
maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we just kind of we kept going, and now we're, you know, we love it so much that we said, fuck it, we're gonna try and absolutely do this on a weekly, consistent basis, and the rest is history. We haven't missed one, you know, since
it's an abusive relationship with wrestling.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, we love to hate it at times, but we try and always find the.
We always keep coming back.
We always,
no matter how much it hurts us, we keep coming back because it loves us.
Damn
Wrestling
you, Vince.
loves us.
Damn you, Vince.
Well, speaking of getting to know you, and you said the StarCast episode's a great way to get to know you, and I'm definitely going to go back and listen to that. I've got 5 polarizing characters in pro wrestling, and I'm gonna list them one at a time, and I just want you to kind of rapid fire first thought out of your head, because usually with these 5 people, depending on your answer, I can figure out if we're gonna gel like wrestling wise or not.
Sure. I like
this. You guys ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I'll let you do take it first, Duncan. All right, on all these. You go first, and I'll go after you.
First one out of the box, CM Punk.
I hate CM Punk so fucking much. Great in the ring, but personality-wise, like, I'm like, you're a dickhead, and I can't stand you.
Such a douchebag. The only cool thing that I heard about him recently was how, like, him and Colt Cabana used to have obviously such a great relationship back in the day, and the Good Brothers were talking about how CM Punk in WWE was stealing the athletic tape that they have, and they can't, you know, I forget which one, if it was Carl or if it was Gallows. They, you know, ended up, dude, why are you stealing this athletic tape? You're a millionaire. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you can afford your own goddamn athletic tape. Right. He's like, no. I steal it so Colt doesn't have to buy it on the weekends. Like, I steal it for Colt, so I buy a couple of them and throw them out.
See, like, before they had a big falling out, then he was a big old fucking pricksicle. He used to be a decent enough guy, and like, I want to like CM Punk, right? Like, I do. He seems like he should be my kind of guy, but it's just like, oh, but you're like the wrong kind of straight edge.
You're like, a douchey kind of straight edge.
A douchey straight edge, like Brody King, straight edge, but like
kind of cool.
It's like very cool. Yeah. So.
All right, next on the list, and I think I know because you talked about him last week, because since that Double or Nothing episode, I've listened and watched every week, Paul Heyman.
Ooh, prior to this, honestly, big Heyman fan, you know? And before hearing anything about this, I would have said, like, and I even think he's kind of, you know, he can be, he's obviously a shrewd, kind of jerky guy as a character, but, you know, at his core in interviews, he's got a bit of a charm about him. And I thought that he obviously still probably has and does have a great wrestling mind. But after hearing, of course, some of the latest, you know, stuff coming out from the Good Brothers, who I have no reason but to trust, and AJ as well, who seems just like he's one of the most nicest, you know, Southern boys on planet Earth and wouldn't, you know, tell a lie, you know, like... So yeah, I gotta say, I was actually bummed to hear it about Heyman, to be honest.
Dude, I was such a big Heyman fan, like ECW Heyman, Paulie Dangerously Heyman. Yeah. Like, oh, dude, couldn't get enough. I drank that Kool-Aid hard in the 90s. And then after this, it's just like, man, oh, so you're a carny and you've been working us the whole time. Fucking got it. God damn it, I hate it. I know I'm getting worked every time, and then I just, like, I forget that it's all a work, even when it's a shoot, and it's all a fucking work.
Yeah. Well, the next one, speaking of carnies, may be the king of the carnies, and that is Jim Cornette.
Man.
Take this one, Duncan, first.
Look. fucking, for as much as I respect Cornette for everything that he's done and for as brilliant of a mind as he might have been.
And a great historian to wrestling as well.
Dude, great historian. Be a wrestling historian. Stop shitting on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop being the old man yelling at clouds. And if you don't like something, fucking just don't like it. Be like, hey, I don't like that. Don't start Twitter beefs with people. And first of all, wrestling fans, stop being assholes to people that don't like what you like. God fucking damn it. Just say what you mean. Like, just be like, I got my podcast. I talk about this. I like to watch my wife fuck other dudes, allegedly. Allegedly. God damn it. But seriously, like, he's just so angry at people who like wrestling that he doesn't like, and it gives the rest of us wrestling fans a bad name, in the same way that the super aggressive fans of whatever else, when they go into hyper aggressive protective or critique mode of whatever they're going at, it's just like, man, no wonder everybody thinks we're a bunch of fucking losers.
That's true. So I'm going to just go ahead and do what people do in comment sections on Facebook and go, what he said. Like, because that's, yeah, what he said right there. Like, that's all I got on that one, yeah.
Okay, the next one, Vince Russo.
Bro,
all
I'm gonna say, bro, is that like 97, bro, would not have happened in the way that we remember it if it weren't for Vince Broso. But like, okay,
I can't hate him completely. I can't
hate him for what he did, but he is a piece of shit, right? Like, as a person, he is a complete and total piece of shit, and I gotta be like, you fucking need to stop. Like, you just need to stop. And
is he ever even gonna have a career in wrestling again, though? At this point, I mean, is anybody gonna hire that guy?
Do they need to?
No.
Like, because anybody who, you can't have a conversation about wrestling without at some point talking about Vince Russo.
This is true. The
same way that at some point you're gonna bring up Cornette in some capacity, right? Like, even these people that are very polarizing and that we might not agree with everything they say, and there's some shit that Cornette says that I'll completely agree with.
Yeah.
I think that, much like FTR has complained about, that yes, tag team wrestling has gotten sloppy, and like there's been a relaxation on the traditional rules of pro wrestling, and everybody knows that wrestling is a show. But yes, there's rules, because otherwise, why the fuck does anything matter? So I think that in that regard, he's not wrong. In a lot of other shit, as much as I like, look, there's a lot of things that we are entertained by that Jim Cornette has a coronary over, and I'm sorry that I popped so fucking hard at the Dick Druids at All In. I'm sorry.
But I'll still pop on that.
They were the greatest thing I've ever seen live in wrestling. I'm sorry. Second only to LAX, or I'm sorry, Proud and Powerful versus the Lucha Brothers in a VFW hall. Are you fucking kidding me? So anyway,
I'm kind of that, like, I'm the same way as Duncan, is on this one as well, just because, like, in much the same way, Vince, that Cornette's done a lot of good, like, in the past in wrestling, and is just kind of a douchebag. I feel exactly the same with Vince Russo. And then obviously he's done a lot of bad, a lot of bad. I mean, he's responsible, literally
finger poke of doom.
Literally responsible for the demise of WCW, really, isn't he?
Yep. I mean, he's pretty much, awful when it comes to that. So once again, like, Russo had some great ideas, but like, dude, not everybody's a genius.
He was never really a wrestling guy until he got in the industry. Like, that's the thing, is that he was a TV guy. He was like,
but that's not saying that you couldn't come in from the outside and not
get
it.
True.
But it helps if you're a fan, at least.
Yeah.
right? Like if you have a base understanding of what professional wrestling is,
or just the history of it, like that. Yeah. So that's my gripe with him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just sort of out of touch with like what a lot of modern fans get off on when it comes to pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm going to give you the last one. And speaking of dick druids, I got to take care of mine real quick. So,
you're good.
Eric Bischoff.
I
Bish.
got nothing against Bischoff, to be honest with you. I like hearing his side of things on 83 Weeks. I like hearing, how, I think he's accused of a lot of stuff that when he's given the chance, he can kind of clear up and put into perspective. And I don't always agree with Bischoff. I think Bischoff has, kind of like the last two. He's done some good, but he's also done some bad as well.
Right.
I actually like Bischoff as an on-screen character. I think he's always been good on the mic. He's always been, to me, I think Bischoff has always been kind of like a great authority figure. I don't know.
Sleazy E in WCW was like one of my absolute favorite things when he was running the NWO. I'm just like, oh, I hate you. And
but
that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if he belongs in wrestling now. I think he might be a little out of date with some of the stuff, or he certainly doesn't belong in. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like Bischoff, much like, I don't know, Cornette could probably still write a really good angle if you gave him some time and the right people and the right, like, length of build.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is the last three, I'm not going to count Russo in there because Russo gave us Judy Bagwell on a forklift match, and I'm never going to forgive him for that. So,
or thank him enough.
I mean, it could go either way, really. So and Russo tried so hard to keep doing that, like, oh, this is real wrestling. I'm gonna throw the belt in the ring, and like Hulk Hogan's fired, and blah blah blah, and all this like the shit at the end of WCW, like all that when Russo was an on TV authority figure. It's just like
the Bischoff.
Okay,
about Bischoff.
I'm talking about Russo.
Oh, Russo did that. Yeah.
Well, no, but the question obviously was about with Bischoff.
Bischoff,
so.
yeah. And
but what I was saying, I was tying them back.
Sorry.
In together, like because Bischoff, like Russo, I was taking Russo out of the equation. So Bischoff and Cornette could both still write a decent like long-term story arc with and have it get over, but the way they write wrestling isn't the way that they write wrestling anymore. There's not long-term storytelling in the like, hey, we've got this plan for a year from now and here's how we're going to get there. They're like, I think that's
kind of what I was trying to say too, in a sense that he fit in, like Bischoff fit that mold then. I don't know if it works now.
And part of me wonders, right? Like, do you take a chance and invest on a long-term storyline anymore? I don't know, like, who's doing that right now? What's the long? I mean, obviously, okay,
Sasha
AEW, right,
Sasha Bailey is probably the closest WWE has right now.
Yeah, I could give you that. I mean, I guess depending on, I could say this, and tomorrow they'll announce that it's AEW or that it's FTR versus the Bucks.
Right.
But I feel like they're gonna do a slow burn to that,
as they should.
And
AEW is doing that. Theoretically, it seems like that is, it's more the case in AEW just because we've got the Kenny Hangman stuff too. We've got like there are a few different angles going on there with long-term storytelling that I feel like they've got the potential to. But then AEW is kind of quick at times to just like, I don't know, let's play with a new toy, I guess is what I
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I feel like that's what happened with Cage, right?
Yeah.
Like sign Brian Cage and they're just like, look at our brand new awesome toy. And then you go back to playing with your favorite toy.
Yeah. Well, those are great, man. Okay, so Duce, what are your, after hearing all those?
Yeah. Are we going to vibe or
yeah,
not?
are we vibing or are we not vibing?
I think so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I disagree with your opinion on a couple of them, but vibe-wise, I think we're good because there was a couple of them where you were kind of like middle of the road, and then there were some where you were like hard right or hard left, and for the most part, you were pretty on point with me, except for maybe one or two. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah. So no, I think we're good. And plus, I mean, wrestling's kind of like pizza. It's not all great, but it's still pizza. So if y'all like the same thing, you're pretty good boat.
Yeah. No,
Exactly.
that's a good way. That's a good way to put it.
100% right about that. Like wrestling is so subjective, and there's stuff that I have been like there's stuff that I have been like, I fucking love this. And Owen's just like, I can't stand that. And vice versa.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll like at some point, like our opinions will change. Cause that's the big thing that we sort of, when we started this show, and I'm going to go all the way back to the first question. When we started the show, our original prospect was we didn't like all the negativity that was every other wrestling show and podcast.
Amen.
And like, yeah, we'll bitch about the things going on. But ultimately, the reason we do the show is because we love wrestling and we want to talk about wrestling. And if somebody that also loves wrestling wants to listen to us talk about it, fuck yeah, come along for the ride.
It's also, we've learned over time, it's okay to be wrong and not die on that hill. And it's okay to like change your mind. There have been plenty of people that I fucking hated that I love now, and again, vice versa. You know, like it all comes back around.
For sure. Well, I got a couple more questions if you want, Owen, unless you want to go to news.
Well, I wanted to talk since we were kind of talking a little bit about AEW. One of the big things I wanted to talk about. It seems like there's a lot of buzz right now, whether or not it comes to fruition or not. But Eddie Kingston's appearance on last week's Dynamite, I thought was fan-fucking-tastic. Gonna be honest, never really even heard of the guy before. I might have heard. I think I knew the name, and I knew that like he had some association with LAX or Proud and Powerful, Santana Ortiz. I knew that was kind of the case, but had I ever seen him work? Had I ever seen a promo? Absolutely not. So for him to cut that absolute fucking fire when he came out was brilliant against Cody, and the whole story of him having to sell due to COVID and being like poor and not being able to get gigs, having to sell his wrestling boots to be able to pay rent and all that, like that was really cool. And then just to see him work, like the guy's good. I guess there's a lot of buzz that AEW is trying to sign him. We'll see if that happens. I think it would work great if they did.
Yeah, and he did a really good interview. I don't know if you saw it. I watched it when I was doing my prep for work today. It was about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it was like an interview after the match with him. It was really good, and he's like, "Nope, Cody beat me. I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy. He beat me. He won. But he beat me today. He might not beat me tomorrow." And it was kind of that kind of a promo. And he's like, when you see me again, I'll be ready for him, kind of a thing. And kind of was hinting at that maybe they signed him. I hope they did, because literally when they said Eddie Kingston, I thought it was going to be like a Jamaican rapper that was coming out. Like, I didn't know who this guy was.
Kofi's brothers out there. Yeah,
exactly. So, he came out and I'm like, and he cut that promo, and even though I know you don't like him, to me, it was like a CM Punk promo. And I'm like, oh shit, this guy's spitting fire.
No, I mean,
I'm ready for this.
And trust me, Punk could cut a hell of a promo. Me and Duncan, I think both would agree on this. Punk is an incredible pro wrestler, just a shit human. Like that's what it comes down to.
I just don't really like him as a person. Like
yes.
that's sort of my
right.
He has great matches, great promos. Like, dude, and trust me, I think that's partly what he wants. Is he wants he doesn't want any gray area. He either wants you to love him or hate him, and that's
right.
perfect. Like I'm fine with that, but I can respect what he did for the business when he was in it.
That's a decent comparison. Right. That's a decent comparison, though. I could
but
see
you're
very
absolutely right.
pipe bombish type stuff. Yeah, like 100% in that. What do you guys think of this moving towards possibly a Big E push in WWE?
Put it in my veins.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Give me all of the Big E. The man has earned that time in the spotlight. Even if Kofi's only going to be out for 6 weeks, fucking yeah, put a rocket on Big E. Give him a good singles run. Like, honestly, Owen and I were talking about this. In a perfect world, you put a pin in the Fiend versus Bray Wyatt, or the Fiend versus Braun Strowman right now, and just fucking have Big E take the belt off, have a big old meat slapping fucking hoss fight, and have Big E take the title off of Braun.
Yep.
Braun will get it back. And also, like, he doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it much. The Fiend doesn't need it. And
no.
Big E with that belt just seems like it fits. Like, they want, I think SmackDown too, with they've tried to do this with Braun. They wanted kind of like that big, larger than life face character to have that belt, especially on Fox that the kids love.
Yeah, right.
Well, what character is more apt to do that literally on the roster than Big E? There isn't.
That's what I'm saying. 100%.
Like, it's
100%.
there. It's there. He deserves it. I heard this kind of argument the other day, though, and I wonder, I don't know that there's much credence to it, but I forget who was saying it. We haven't ever really seen Big E in a 20-plus minute main event match that he's, of course, as a single star. Seen plenty of that with tag teams and what have you. So I don't know if there's maybe trepidation with that. Can Big E go that long? Blah, blah, blah.
But he was the NXT champion, was he not?
Was he as Big E Langston? I can't remember if he actually won the belt or not. Do you want me to look it up, or are you going for it?
I'm going.
You go for it. Yeah. I can't remember if he actually ever won that belt, but that was also, even in that time, though, too, it was a much different time with NXT. Like, I'm not sure that it was, like, it was getting there with the product, but it wasn't quite like the work rate product that it is today or has been. It was on the upswing towards that before his transition to the main roster.
No, he was the second ever
after Seth
NXT champion. Yep, after Seth.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's kind of when I was getting back into wrestling, and I certainly wasn't back into NXT at that time, so I wouldn't have known.
No, and Seth won July 26, 2012. Big E won his reign started December 6th, 2012. Gotcha. So about 5 months after.
What do you think about Big E, Duce?
Well, I think it's good, but there's one little rub I want to throw into this, which I think really is going to make it better for him and probably for them to pull the trigger on it. You guys got to remember, football season starts like the second week of September, so that's about 6 weeks away. Think about it. Fox has ads for SmackDown during football on Sundays running constantly. What is a better face of having as a champion when you have guys sitting at sports bars watching football than Big E holding that belt? And especially as timely as it is.
Former football player.
Yeah.
Former football player. Also
looks like a goddamn lineman
right now. Yeah.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Like, it is.
With everything going on. Yeah.
Well, and also he is the exact person you want that belt to be on.
Yeah, he's the guy that he's not going to screw up, and he's got a great attitude, and he's not going to get in any trouble. And he's great on the mic, in front of a camera, with kids, with adults. Everybody
loves him.
And
exactly.
Yeah, and you've got that ad running during every commercial break during a football game in a sports bar. If I'm a Fox exec, I'm putting a big red stamp on all that saying, yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. I hadn't thought of that at all, but I can see that working. I also can say this. You don't you don't need to turn him heel and have a split from the New Day, which was always what was rumored. You don't need to do it. You can keep them all together, especially with the two of them like being out right now, with X being, you know, on the bench for, you know, I guess a little longer, and then I don't know. Do we know if this Kofi injury is legit or if it's just like if it's a work or not? I don't know. But
I don't have any idea. I don't have any fucking idea what's
either
happening.
way, send him home for a little bit. Like, you know, let E have this push. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. The other one I'm all about too is putting some love behind Angel Garza and Andrade as a tag team. I think that it's starting to work. It didn't for a while for me, but I love the two of them together, and I think Angel Garza is a future main eventer. I think that dude has it all. I think it's I don't know. I've been a big believer since I first saw him, and yeah, I want to just see some fucking, you know, some sort of a push for both those guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they both deserve it. They're both fantastic wrestlers. I'm such a fan of the lucha libre style.
Yep.
And like that real and let's be real, most of the stuff that indie fans like and most of the stuff that AEW fans like, a lot of that has its basis in lucha. Anybody hopping off the ropes and doing weird flippy shit and jumping at, like, it's all lucha libre. The Mexican masked wrestlers have been doing that for years, and you know, it just like everything, white people stole it. But I mean, it's true, right? Like, if you watch a Young Bucks match, they're ripping off luchadors left and right, and then they add their little twist on it, and that's what makes the Young Bucks better than your average tag team.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong on that. What do you guys think about the Street Profits? And because another guy that I'm equally as hot on as Angel Garza is Montez Ford. I feel like Montez Ford has, I don't know, there's something about him that reminds me of The Rock in a weird way, like just like charismatic and can do.
He's got that over the top,
presence.
Energy.
Yeah. And I like Dawkins enough, but come on, it is pretty night and day, is it not? The skill level between the two of them, both in and out the ring. Do we separate them? Like, is it too soon to do that?
At some point, you're going to separate them, but you don't need to separate them now. They're still hot. People are still digging on the Street Profits.
Yeah.
It's also like, I don't know. Dawkins just had a baby.
Oh.
Right? So.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Like, and also, I think there's a way to do that, but what would you do? Would you turn Ford heel? I don't think that really works. You could.
I think that's actually what you do. I think that's actually what you do.
But there's too much money to be made in him being a face right now.
I hate that argument. I mean, I know it is a good one, and they think like
I'm
that.
sorry, I have to think like WWE.
Yeah, well, but yes, it is a WWE thing. I mean, it really is. I want to see like him with Bianca Belair, his wife, you know, as a heel, duo in a sense. Like, I kind of want to see him like I don't want to see her as a valet. I want to see her as a valet, like by his side while she actually still continues to wrestle. But
so then basically a modern day Macho King and Sensational Sherry,
something like that. Yeah.
Like, and I could fuck with that. Like, I won't even lie. Like, that would not be the worst idea I've ever heard.
And you'll get. I just think that then there's the possibility later down the line, much like it was with The Rock, and maybe that's why I keep thinking of that later down the road, when he eventually inevitably turns face again, the fucking print the money, man. Like, it's.
Yeah, I think here's the problem with doing any of that shit right now. There's no fans to react to it.
Yeah, you don't know, do you?
It doesn't matter what they do. Their best bet is to just keep kind of everybody where they are. You can turn Big Show back and forth. That doesn't matter.
Or Natty.
But yeah, who gives a shit, right? Like the ones that flip flop all the time anyway, and nobody cares about. It's just like, oh, your face this week and heel this week, and Lacey Evans and blah blah blah. Like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't care. Do that, but I think until you have fans to react to these changes, it's not gonna.
It's kind of pointless turning someone from a face to a heel.
It doesn't seem to really do any good, like, unless you got a great storyline for them, right?
Yep.
Like, you're just getting the dozen or so wrestlers in the crowd to react to it.
Do you want to throw to Duce? And I know he's got a couple more questions.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah.
All right. Who is the worst wrestler in AEW, and why is it Brandon Cutler?
Aw, leave Brandon alone. I don't even know if that's true, to be honest with you. The worst wrestler in AEW is Leva Bates.
Oh, that was totally... whoa. Shots fired, bro. Shots fired.
But
really?
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
name me a worse... No, maybe Luther. Maybe Luther.
Dr. Luther.
Fucking, why are you there? Oh, yeah, Jericho's buddy. But I don't know.
And I'm just knocking on Brandon Cutler just because I thought it was a great punchline, but also I think he's got to get a new gimmick. Like, this D&D gimmick's not getting over. I don't know if you guys watch AEW Dark this evening. The librarians and him made a new tag team called The Initiative, like you roll for initiative in D&D. Yeah, and I'm a D&D fan. That's why I'm like, why is this gimmick not clicking with me? Like, it should be hitting my sweet spot, but for some reason, it's not gelling, and I feel like poor Leva Bates is stuck in this gimmick that ain't going to work, even though she's amazing.
Is she, though? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think she is.
Come on, she was great as Blue Pants.
Yeah.
You're putting personal opinions in on this. Oh, and think of the wrestling.
I know Leva. So it's like,
I know, and that's why. But that's why it's not. You know what I mean? Like, that would be an unfair comparison, sir.
I just think she's super green, and I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying, though. That she is saddled with this gimmick.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that could have been done better on her side as well.
But she was super over in NXT.
She was.
Yeah.
And at some point, Owen's going to have to fill me in off air, I guess, about why he feels the way he feels about Leva Bates. But I like her. I think she's great, but
she's a good person. Like, I have nothing really against Leva at all.
Owen will just randomly pick people to be like, I
don't like you,
and you're like, why?
That's fair.
I just don't.
That's fair. and actually, as much as I hate to say it, I may have put Brandon Cutler in that box too. It's just like, I don't like the cut of his jib,
Yeah.
Because I should be all over that gimmick, but I'm just like, no, he needs repackaged. He needs something new. And I used to
do a live action, like, Star Wars role playing game podcast. Like, I am I'm down with that. Like, my fucking dice are in the other room. Like, you know what I mean? I am all about that, but it also doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
I thought what I was hoping for is that they were going to run with that losing streak gimmick and really draw on some sympathy from him.
I think they are.
And they brought
her up tonight.
Oh, okay.
They brought her up tonight. Or it was either that or this week's BTE, but they said they're on this long losing streak, and he doesn't want to cheat to win. He wants to really win it and show why he needs to be there.
Yeah, it's a big part of BTE. Like, they did that. Yeah, so
gotcha.
I think that is happening, but
because I was especially a few weeks ago when they were really pushing that hard, right? Like, I think they were filming everything at the Bucks compound.
In Daly's place at Jacksonville.
No. When they were filming at the Bucks, at the Bucks house, like when they had the ring set
the Young Bucks house. I'm sorry.
No, not the. I get what you're saying. But when they were in California during like the initial run
when the quarantine first started, and they had those matches. Yeah. I'm gonna repeat real quick. So
go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I already had to do mine, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, me and Duce keep up.
I
think that I was sympathetic to that though. Like, I was sympathetic to his, like, oh, I'm on a losing streak. Like, it's been a year since I was signed. Like, they had me going with that. Yeah. And then they've tried to go comedy with it. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't really vibe for me either. So I want to, and I feel bad for not, because, like, my brother in Hairline.
Right. And like I said, like, the gimmick for me, and you agree, because we're both D&D fans and role-playing game fans and stuff, like, it should be over. I just, like I said, I feel bad for Leva, because I feel like she's in a bad spot, because I feel like she's just stuck, because they haven't really had her doing any singles matches on Dark.
Or really anything. She had that one singles match? Yeah,
and maybe one other one on Dark, but I mean, literally, I think she might have only had like 2.
Yeah, and it's been very negligible for how much she could do. And also, like, I think I love Peter Avalon. What I miss, though, is, like, he had a tag team partner on the Indies named Ray Roses.
Right.
And their team name is PP Ray. And, dude, for some reason, that shit was so
over like
good.
Rover. Yeah.
It was like, they were sleazy, like, kind of, I don't know if they were gay, but it was California, so everything's gay. And once again, not like we give a shit. I hate that it's 2020 and you have to clarify everything you fucking say now, but whatever. But dude, they were just kind of very ambiguous and very sleazy, and they had a great tag team, and I feel like Peter Avalon is such a good heel, and he's being wasted in this sort of like
joke tag team.
Bully. Yeah, I'm a bully to Brandon Cutler because he sucks, but I suck too. It's like, fuck off. This is not funny.
Yeah. Well, now that we got Owen back, I'll go ahead and jump to the next one.
Yeah, please.
What's your thoughts on the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament, and do you think it will lead to women's tag titles?
No. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be kind of like some sort of trophy-ish type thing. I don't know that they have the talent pool for it. You know, they really don't even have the talent pool for a full
for it. That's the
and that's the thing, because that almost leads to my next question: was do you think AEW needs a 6-man tag belt? I think they need a 6-man tag belt. I think they need a women's tag team belt, but you don't need either of those two things until you get that second show and you've got more time. Because right now they've got 2 hours a week, and they're filling it with what they've got. I mean, because you're not even seeing title matches every week or title defenses, which is fine because it's 2 hours and you don't have to have a title defense on every show. But I think right now you've got 3 titles. 4. You got the tag team, you've got the TNT Championship, you got the men's and the women's. So that's 4 belts. So that's more than enough for a 2-hour show.
And the TNT one is always going to be defended, right? Like that's its gimmick is Cody will defend it on every episode of Dynamite.
It's like the TV title back in the day. It's like almost like Cena's Open Challenge once upon a time with the US title. I like the idea of expanding to a 6-man title belt, but I would rather them, when it comes to the women, I'd rather them just build the women's roster so that there's more credible threats for the actual women's title. And then, because I mean, realistically, there's only about 2 or 3 that you can see at the top of that card right now, maybe 4.
Right.
You know, but yeah, you can. It's pretty evident too when there's been a lot of matches over the last couple Dynamites where it's find random female wrestling jobber for person to destroy
somebody.
Yeah. So if we're going that route, not for me.
I want to be honest.
The
women, like the women's division in AEW, like for as much as it hits, it misses.
Mm-hmm.
So like
it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better.
It has gotten a lot better, but I just want to see more consistency with it. Like I want it to be like not quite as up and down. Like the dramatic peaks and valleys have gotten better, but it's still like very sort of like we're riding a wave and it's really good this week, and then next week it's just like what the fuck was that?
But let me add something to that point, Duncan. And I do agree with you that it is a wave, but I think the wave has also been because of injury. Because, like, Brooke was getting hot, then she gets hurt. Statlander's getting hot, she gets hurt. I don't know where Riho or Rihu is at all. And
probably stuck in Japan and not allowed to come to America.
Right. So now you got that one out of action. And it seemed like Sheeta was like gone for a minute too, like she was hurt or something. But it just seems like every time somebody gets hot, they get hurt. And that's
then there
why
was
I think
also
you had some stutter
quarantines
steps
and travel bans. And,
right. None of this stuff needs to happen, honestly, with any expansion of belts, like you said, until you have another show. But also, that doesn't need to happen for a while either. And there's no point in putting on another show at the moment when there's no crowds. We've got to get through. I think, until crowds come back, maybe then we can talk about it. But
I don't know. I could still see them launching a second show. Even if there aren't crowds, like I can see if they're like, you can still film at a daily place. Like you can, you know what I mean? Put a few people in the crowd because you can do that technically there in Florida. So
I heard Tony Khan talking about it on 83 Weeks with Bischoff, and he's hesitant. He's definitely like he knows he wants to do it at some point, but he's very conscious of the fact he doesn't want a Thunder on his hands, for instance. He wants to take his time, make sure it's necessary, also give it a different feel. One of the big things they talked about was making it not like a Raw and SmackDown, a red and a blue, which is almost the same exact look and feel of the show. If they're going to do a second show, let's make it feel completely different than the first show. So by doing it even just in Daly's place and all that, like
it would take away from
you run
what
that
you want
risk.
from it.
You run that
But
risk.
even then, like, I mean, you can do that, and I get that point, but you can only change it so much production-wise. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to set up the camera angle on the other side, different set. Okay. Like, I get it, but at the same time, at some point it's still just going to be wrestling in an arena, right? So
maybe it's like purely a women's and a tag team show or something like that. Like it could be. I feel like that's kind of almost too gimmicky for AEW. Like as fucking ridiculous as that sounds, but like I think that AEW's thing is they try to be inclusive, right? So you want to be able to turn in, and you never know what you're going to see, right? Like maybe you're going to see a women's tag match, maybe you're going to see a men's match, maybe you're going to see whatever. And so I think that that's kind of where you gotta, how can you still be different while sticking to what you've wanted the whole time?
Okay. The next one I had, and this is actually more topical news question, is did you see Matt Hardy's new video about being just one Matt Hardy, and what were you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about this and brought it to my attention earlier today, Duncan. I'm pretty sure you probably, I don't know if you've seen it yet, right?
I know it exists.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it broken down, and like I haven't watched it. I read a lot of articles.
It's only like 2 minutes long. So,
sure, but like it's basically him, wanting to like just instead of being like hopping from gimmick to gimmick to gimmick, just being like Matt Hardy. Or
I want to be Matthew Hardy now. For the first time in my career, I can kind of just be myself. I think was like the thing. I'm torn on it because I personally think what he's been doing lately has been working. He seems to think that it hasn't, and without crowds there, obviously it is tough to tell, but I think everything he's been doing has been great, especially on BTV as well. I think it's working wonderfully. God.
I've been popping so hard for everything that Matt Hardy has been doing.
Money Matt's ridiculous. My favorite thing. I love Money Matt. Like
Oh my
Big
god,
buddy Matt.
not this last BTE, but the one before. He was just like, "That's $1,400. Did you take my money? Did you take that?"
Yeah, I love it.
I love that he took it from himself. That's even better. No, I agree that it has been getting over. And I think that Matt Hardy is one of the few people that can pull off that schizophrenic gimmick and make it work. I think that the Bucks, I don't know if it's been on purpose, but like the way that they react to him when he's on screen, like they are annoyed by him. Have you noticed that?
I have.
Okay,
well, like, especially when he does the little what is it, like when he's doing the little facts on reading wrestling terminology, behind the scenes Carney talk and all that stuff, like when he pauses and all that, like they get annoyed by that. But
no, like when he's actually like out not doing that bit, but like when he's doing other bits, it, like you can tell.
I haven't picked up on that. I'll have to check that out.
Check it. Not this past episode, but the episode before. Like obviously, because I haven't watched the one that just recently aired, but the one before. I think it's Matt Jackson, who is just like everything that he's saying, like he's just rolling his eyes at and just kind of like very dismissive. And I'm just like, that doesn't really seem like something that you would want to do. I don't know. It just seemed like they couldn't really give less of a shit about what Matt Hardy was doing as whatever gimmick Matt Hardy was doing. So I don't necessarily know if
is that a work?
The fans, I don't know if it's a work as much as I think that maybe maybe the Bucks don't like it, but the fans do.
Maybe, which is really odd. You'd think the Bucks would, like, that would be right up their alley. Like,
I would, and maybe I could be totally wrong. I don't know the fucking Bucks.
Yeah,
I paid to get my picture taken with them, just like everybody else does. Yeah. So I couldn't speak to what they are thinking, but yeah, it just seems like the multifarious Matt Hardy. I think it's money. Like, I don't know why you would want to just, unless Matthew Hardy is just one of the facades,
one of the new characters that can come. Like, that's kind of my thought process with it, is that it's a work, but not, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that he wants to try and wants to do, and it can just be another extension of the evolution of Matt Hardy and another character because he hasn't, let's be real, yes, by doing all these three characters and bouncing around, that in and of itself is an evolution of the Matt Hardy character, but he hasn't had anything distinctly AEW and different to this point. He's only done stuff that he's done before, so this might be his way to kind of bridge those two worlds, if that makes any sense.
Could be. Could very well be. I mean, he's, definitely using gimmicks that he's used literally in every other promotion that he's been in. Yeah. So I just don't take away my Matt facts, bro. Like, don't take away my first version.
Exactly.
That's my favorite thing. And it was my favorite thing on SmackDown when he was V1. And it's when I saw it come back the first time, I popped so fucking hard.
It was in the pool in the stadium stampede that got me the most. Like that.
When he was just like, "Stop being such a pendejo." I cracked the fuck up.
It's so good.
Ortiz and Santana, man, like they have not had enough good tag team matches because those two are money.
They are money.
Like, those two are so fucking good, and they're just kind of being squandered by being Jericho's muscle right now.
And that's kind of one of the things that we talked about off air, Duncan, was that maybe by bringing in Eddie Kingston, aligning, those guys with him, that might be a way to form a sort of separation from the inner circle in a sense.
Oh, I would love that.
And give them more of a spotlight, just because it would give them something else and different to do, which they deserve. They're so goddamn talented that it really, it's not hit yet with AEW for them. It really hasn't, unfortunately.
No, it hasn't. No, it really hasn't, man. And like, honestly, before I knew who they were, right, when I knew they were Impact wrestlers, but I hadn't really seen them, like my first exposure to them was against the Lucha Brothers at Bar Wrestling, and it blew my face off.
Dude.
Like, absolutely, just like, I was like, okay, this ought to be good, and I did not know. I should go back in time and apologize.
Right.
God damn, that match was so good. And the thing I'll never forget is we're standing one person away from the ring, and we're in the Santana and Ortiz corner, and I think it was Ortiz was standing on the outside. Santana was in the ring, and somebody yelled up, "Nobody likes LAX," and he looked down at him. He goes, "I do. I like me, and that's the only thing that matters." And dude, I was like, I'm sold. Yeah. And anytime Kelsey and I says "I do," we go, "I do." Like, say it like we're sassy ass Puerto Ricans.
I love it.
Of fucking Ortiz.
That's such a great response, though. That's such a great, it's a great way to deal with it.
Like, and that's your character is just like, oh, everybody, I like me.
I know you might have more questions, but while we're so heavy on the topic of AEW, we can't, not talk about this coming week. Cody defending his TNT championship against Warhorse. It's finally happening. How familiar are you with Warhorse, Duce?
Zero.
Yeah, I was as well up until probably 2 weeks ago, until Duncan once again was just like, yo, bro.
This is what I do.
Take it away, Duncan. Just take it away for the record.
I will. I see obscure wrestling shit online, and I'm like, that's awesome. And then I tell Owen about it, and he's like,
it takes me a little bit.
He doesn't ever tell me that he doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just assume that he sees the same dumb wrestling.
Well, then
shit
I just go look it up after the fact, and I'm like, okay, I don't quite get it yet, but okay, I'll dig a little deeper.
I'll ride the wave,
ride the wave of whatever Duncan's saying. Like, okay,
because I trust his opinion. I know if he likes something this much, that I'm more than likely going to have. I'm going to like it as well.
A thing that you have to understand about me when it comes to pro wrestling is I love over-the-top gimmicks.
Nice.
I love ridiculous over-the-top bullshit. It's why I loved Mankind.
We both do.
You know what
I'm a Papa Shango mark, for Christ's sake.
Oh, you are a huge Papa Shango mark. Like a huge Papa Shango mark. And I love it. It's my favorite thing. Like, so yeah, big over-the-top dumb shit I am all in on. Warhorse is like basically an 80s fucking metal dude is his gimmick. Like, so he's got some black makeup around his eyes. Right. He comes to the ring in a battle vest, and it's just like his catchphrase is "Warhorse rules ass." You know what I mean? So
that's good shit.
It's great shit. So much like Danhausen, it was one of those things where I just messaged Owen. I'm just like, dude, Warhorse. And for the last few weeks online, on Twitter, wrestling Twitter is just like, give us Warhorse. Warhorse. Yeah. And like every so often, it's just like, you're a coward, Cody. You fear Warhorse.
He's been calling him out.
Arn Anderson, in one of his interviews, like somebody asked him about challengers, and Arn goes, "Hey, what about that Warhorse kid?" And everybody online were just like, "Yeah, fucking give us Warhorse." There's a 10-minute documentary on YouTube that you can watch. It's called, I think it's called Becoming Warhorse.
Yeah, Becoming Warhorse, yeah.
And it's a really good, just little 10-minute sort of introduction into the character. And like, I don't know, man, like 80s over the top heavy metal. Like he's like, I want to be the first heavy metal wrestler that doesn't suck.
Exactly.
And so like I said, with a catchphrase like "Warhorse rules ass," there's just really no getting around it.
When I ran out, did you tell him about the tweet, the Cody tweet? That you sent me today?
The new one?
Yeah, the new one today.
Yeah, so earlier today, AEW obviously, or TNT tweets out a promo for the match of Cody versus Warhorse, and Cody replies with something just
I got it right here. Yeah. I got it right here. So Cody goes, it's a professional versus an amateur. I'm the one with everything to lose. That's what Cody said.
That's what Cody tweeted out.
Then Warhorse responds.
Who only tweets in all caps. So, Owen, I need you to read it in all caps.
Okay, gotcha. Hang on. I probably need a little reverb for this.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up, dude. I always considered you a professional.
That is a hard pop. Hard pop. Between the tweet and the reverb, pops all around.
And also, I follow Ruckus, who is AEW's music guy. Like, he writes all their theme songs. I follow him on Twitter, and he is like, I am so excited about the Warhorse theme that I have written. You guys have no idea.
Oh, shit.
He's like, one of the first albums I ever owned was Kill 'Em All by Metallica. So let's see how this goes.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
nice.
write me thrash. Because like on the indies, he comes out to the Four Horsemen by Metallica.
Yep.
So obviously it's going to be a super thrashy. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to come out of pit retirement and I haven't even heard this fucking song. I'm going to be moshing in my living room. My wife's going to get mad at me.
So yeah, tune in to Dynamite for that match, if nothing else.
And watch Warhorse rule ass.
Rule ass, exactly.
Well, I wrote down Becoming Warhorse because I'm going to take the time to look it up on YouTube and watch it before AEW tomorrow so I can kind of get filled in on the character and know what's coming. Because I through the course of conversation tonight and us hanging out as a bunch of good brothers, I could definitely tell that we vibe and we definitely kind of like the same things in wrestling. So if you're hyped about this guy, I'm hyped about this guy.
Yeah, man. Do you have any more questions that you want to throw at us, or
just one really a simple one? And this is easy. And it's, have you guys watched A Shot of Brandy yet?
Yeah,
it's on the AEW channel because that was dope.
I haven't watched the one that you told me to watch today with Orange Cassidy. I have seen a few of them in the past.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a fun little cooking show that she does because clearly the bitch can't cook at all. And and I think that's, I think she's trying to play that she can, but nah, she can't. Like
but when you are that fucking gorgeous, you don't have to cook.
You shouldn't. Oh my God, she is something else. She really is. I was in
the same room with her, and I was like, I am an ugly human being,
dude. Double or Nothing. We were both just kind of like,
dude. We paid for 2 meet and greets. It was the Young Bucks and Cody and Brandy.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like, well, no, but like my wife and I.
Yeah.
And
right.
It was just like, God damn. Cody always has the same derpy smile. Motherfucker does not know how to smile. He does this weird like he's JR.
Yeah. And he's got the dusty lisp as well.
Dude, I love it. I actually love that he has the dusty lisp just a little bit. It's not on everything, but he's got it just enough. And I'm just like, you did that on purpose.
We'll wrap this up with a little bit of my own rapid fire for all of us here. What the hell do we do with Otis in the briefcase at this point?
Oh man, I forgot Otis had the briefcase.
I know, everybody does.
I would say just keep it, just have him with it. Is he still got Mandy with him?
Yeah, he's gonna give it to Mandy, isn't he?
No, I don't want him to do that, but I want him to hang on to it for a while. Yeah.
Or have Big E win the briefcase from him, and that's how Big E becomes champion.
That's cool. I don't mind that.
It's not like, I mean, it's not the greatest idea, but like, what are you gonna do with Otis as champion? Are you gonna make Otis champion? Especially, you've got Braun right now, or
Big
the
E coming
Fiend.
up, and then
Or
the
I
Fiend,
swear to
and-
God,
Or a cash in at SummerSlam.
But a cash in at SummerSlam when it's going to be the Fiend winning, like, are you going to then
really
have
Otis is
beat-
gonna what?
Otis is going to beat the Fiend? No, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to throw something at my TV, and I can't afford to fucking buy another one.
Or they wait till Heavy Machinery, like they get. I think Tucker's injured, right? Like I want to say that is actually a thing, like in like legit, like Tucker's might be injured.
It could be.
So
I don't know, man.
I mean, it's a wasted opportunity for the briefcase, but you could use it for Heavy Machinery to get their first tag team title win. They could cash it in on the tag team titles. That would be my only other option.
Sure.
And that's never been done before, I don't think, has it?
Well, it's never been. I don't think the briefcase has ever been used for anything but the main,
the heavyweight title. So I mean,
but a main title
could be different. Yeah. So that could be different. I don't know. I'd rather them just hang on to it and cash in later when everything clears up a little bit and we've got a better picture of like the title scene and what's going on. Because everything right now is a mess over there. Just a mess.
Is, but like. Man, I just don't see it clearing up. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Who clears it up enough to get it so that Otis could take the briefcase from him? And also, you got to know that Otis having the title is only going to be a short thing, right?
Oh yeah, like a month.
I think
best.
that's all.
Or it's it could be a failed cash in too.
Oh, true. We haven't had one of those in a while.
No, we haven't. Not since Baron Corbin.
Yeah, Baron Corbin. We haven't.
Yeah.
We haven't said that in a while.
No, we haven't. That's a deep cut
from
the early days.
It
when
is.
Baron Corbin was a French chef. In
Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin. Yeah. See, it's fucking. Why you listen to this show?
I don't know. No one should listen to this. Have you guys seen?
Thanks for listening.
Have you guys seen how jacked Roman Reigns is looking in his time off?
Oh my god!
And fucking if they bring him back with that goddamn flak jacket, I'm gonna be pissed off. Show that, give him a new look. Strip the Shield fucking vest away from him. Have him come back with something else. I mean, I want him topless. I want to see that meaty boy. Like
he doesn't need to wear a shirt.
No, he doesn't.
No, I agree.
He doesn't.
He's looking great. He's doing great during the quarantine, working out, and I know they're ready for him to come back because they need the star power, especially
SmackDown.
I can't stress enough how big it's going to be when football comes back because Fox promotes SmackDown like crazy during football season, and I know they want him back so they can have him on promos and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I mean, they're dying for him to come back, and I can't blame them.
And remember, but hold on, like, because Owen and I have done our fair share of boo Roman,
boo.
Like, how fucked is it that we look at this now almost 5 months later and we're just like, oh shit, we really need Roman Reigns.
We miss Roman.
Roman is a draw.
Yep.
So
we've talked a lot of shit
argument,
about Roman, and
but
honestly,
let that argument be put to fucking rest. Like, let nobody ever say again that Roman Reigns is not a draw and that he doesn't entertain you, because he does.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he does.
Snarks.
Yeah.
WWE on a ship or a beach, apparently.
I'm on a boat.
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam on a boat, the SummerSlam cruise.
That's what they're talking about. I don't know if they're doing a cruise. I don't know if it's going to be just a docked boat.
I'm thinking if they do, it'll be a docked boat. I don't think they're going to take it out in the sea because they can't take anybody. I think it'll be just like,
but what if
there?
Hold the fuck on. Theoretically, you get a private boat that's chartered and flagged out of some other country.
Their version of the UFC's Fight Island type thing.
Fighter Island.
Fight Battleship or whatever, right? Like, dude, you tell me that Vince doesn't... His wife is in the fucking cabinet. He can get an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Do you remember that?
Yes, they did that shit.
Yeah. They did that for Yokozuna.
The Yokozuna Lex Luger thing.
Luger, yeah.
Yep. So don't you tell me that we can't bust out the USS Mission Accomplished, float that son of a bitch out there, build a ring in the middle of it.
USS Mission Accomplished. first.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's right. That's a deep cut.
You popped me on that one. Yeah, no, that's. I hated the idea at first. You were the first person to post it in the group, Duce, and I hated it. And the more I think of it, I'm actually gonna have to turn. I'm like, that actually, it could work. That could be cool.
Well, you got to do something because SummerSlam is one of the big four, and they already did WrestleMania at the Performance Center, and I feel like if they have to do another one of the big four at the Performance Center, that's really just a gut punch. You know what I mean? So I'm like, put it on a boat, at least. You know, the
or
other
a
thing
beach,
too,
or
a
a beach.
bubble. Yeah,
or
a beach.
Do something like that.
I mean, talk about the ultimate bubble if they're on a cruise ship. I mean,
yeah.
Nobody can leave the boat. If they test everybody and they're clean when they get on the boat and they all stay on the boat, you got a perfect bubble.
Yeah, except for the asymptomatic passengers who like aren't testing positive but still have it. You know what I mean?
If they did it, I think that they would honestly do it with like. I don't think they would still do it without fans. Like I think I don't know. I have a feeling that they would do it as just like the wrestlers and the crew and what have you. I can't see that you have, you know.
I haven't watched main roster in a minute. Did they stop letting friends and family in? Is it back to being just wrestlers?
Just
again?
BC. It's just
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
it's just the developmental talent.
It is. They're not letting them in. They're not letting them in.
I mean, not the worst call in Florida.
No, not right now.
It's also an indoor. It's also an indoor venue, and it's not that fucking big.
No.
And also, Owen, do you remember last week when I said, "Hey, they must be somewhere else"? Like they put up a weird set over the ring, and then I was like, they put something over the ring, and then when they flashed back to it, I think it was the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was.
So what they do, I read an article that Stephanie McMahon said they'll put a virtual ceiling up for big wide shots like that.
They want to get rid of the fan. They don't like the fan being in the shot, which.
Oh, geez, Louise.
I kind of like the fan.
It's the only fan in the stadium.
Exactly.
So.
It's the only fan in the place. So fucking, and it's the biggest one. It's a big ass fan.
It's a big ass fan.
Well, can I ask you two a question real quick? Have you both been to the Performance Center?
I've not.
Yes, I have been. Oh, okay. It's not.
Let me ask you this, and let me knock on some wood because I hope to goodness it doesn't happen. But just because of somebody who's got inside knowledge, if God forbid, come Royal Rumble, they've got to do it at the Performance Center. Is it big enough to do a Royal Rumble in?
Yeah, I can't answer that, obviously. I bet, but
I think it's just like a real long, kind of convoluted way that they have to run about to get people in and out. Because that entrance way, like it's still set up the exact same way as it was when sort of I was there. There's not really anything back there, so they've got everything masked off with curtains,
right,
so that you can have people travel backstage.
Find it,
But Gorilla is set up in a weird spot that's back further away from the ramp. So
what I don't understand is still why they haven't done more at Full Sail, because they obviously went back to Full Sail to do that takeover.
NXT, yeah. Well, no, and NXT is back filming at Full Sail.
Every episode is back at Full Sail. So yeah, why? I mean, it seems like
they want the brands to look different. That's what it is. It's like they want NXT to look like NXT, and then they want the main roster to look like the main roster.
That's fair.
So I guess theoretically they could, but I think you're more likely in that situation to do it at Full Sail. Like I think that if they honestly they should do.
That's probably what they should do.
And SummerSlam would do it Full Sail as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's
not
bigger.
The greatest,
is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bigger. The Performance Center, like they can fit 7 rings in there, but there's not much space in between them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's 6-7 feet in between to kind of like. So
they social distance the rings, is what you told me.
It's exactly
100%. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Sterilizing everything, 100%.
The last couple things I've got to say is R.I.P. Kairi Sane. That's
She didn't die.
No,
But
but
sayonara, Kairi Sane, I think is the culturally insensitive way that we could say it.
That's a good way to put it. Another one of those that honestly, man, what a missed opportunity. What a waste. Exactly.
Dude, I love Kairi Sane, and I love the pirate gimmick, and I love the whole thing. I bought a goddamn little bag of pirate coins, the Kairi Sane pirate coins, and because my wife is a big Kairi Sane fan.
Well, she loves pirate shit, period. Like, so
is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I know fucking bam. But I was like, oh, don't pay any attention to the fact that I just bought like 5 pins for me, and like, here's a bag of shit for you. Here's a bag of plastic pirate coins.
I guess she's gonna probably just go back to Japan, right? Be with she's married to Evil, right? Is it Evil that she's married to?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's Evil.
Please let her.
Join Bullet Club.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
Too sweet.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
all about
that, dude.
Yeah,
like,
that would be rad. That'd be rad.
God, fucking give me that. And also, while we're on that subject, I'm all about Evil Dose belts. Like,
me too.
I'm all about. Like, I think it's great. I like that Hiromu is gonna have a fucking total mental breakdown. Like, I don't know. I think that there's some really cool shit that can happen in New Japan on the horizon. And I'm still all about that Bullet Club life, man.
Me and you both. The last thing I was gonna read, but now after that, I don't even want to do it because I don't want to end the show on kind of a downer. But have you seen?
But I'm gonna anyway.
Have you? Did you see Hulk Hogan's latest ridiculous tweet, Duce? Because he's back at being a piece of shit again.
He's like, why'd you have to do me like that, brother?
I'm sorry.
It's like, why are you ribbing me on the show?
As I'm looking at all the Hulk Hogan merchandise in my office, what did he do now?
I was gonna say, I live like a mile and a half from his shop, bro. I get you.
Yeah, and trust us, we're right there with you.
I was born in '83, man. I was a Hogan mark. I still have Hogan shit from when I was like, I have a OG wrestling buddy. Like,
nice.
I got the shirt from when I was fucking like from like the Hulk Hogan costume kit. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is what he said. Go ahead. Didn't I send you this?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's your fault. It's your fault. In 3 short months, just like he did with the plagues of Egypt, God has taken away everything we worship. God said, you want to worship athletes? I will shut down the stadiums. You want to worship musicians? I will shut down civic centers. You want to worship actors? I will shut down theaters. You want to worship money? I will shut down the economy and collapse the stock market. You don't want to go to church and worship me? I will make it where you can't go to church. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal this land. Maybe we don't need a vaccine. Maybe we need to take this time of isolation from the distractions of the world and have a personal revival where we focus on the only thing in the world that really matters. Jesus. There you go. There's your Hulkster. There's your Hulkster tweet of the day.
It's just like, okay, look.
I got nothing against anybody having any sort of religion, but come on here, come on, like it's.
Well, he gives me the 1-2 punch. He hits me with my favorite wrestler, and then he hits me with Jesus, and I'm like, oh, you got me twice, brother. You got me twice. Now, I'll be the first one to admit I am a religious guy. I go to church.
Sure, nothing wrong with that.
But I've got to kind of agree with you. This ain't the time for that, man. Like, no. I mean, it just not the way he said it. I think maybe he could have worded it different and got the point across, but the way I think his heart might have been in the right place, sure, and what he was thinking might have been in the right place.
Sure.
He just didn't word it properly, and that's why with some of these celebrities, especially the older ones, they need a publicist. They need somebody to be reading these tweets and being like, oh, hell no.
I mean,
no. You have to filter that shit through me.
Yeah, exactly, before you put it out. And
Yep.
God bless him. I think his heart was in the right place. And as a religious person, it hurts me to say this. I think his heart was in the right place. I think the message to some degree is good, but I think the way it's worded is very poorly. Does that make any sense?
Well, yeah.
He words it like he words it like a zealot. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's just like a very like
fire and brimstone.
Yeah, man. And like, look, I'm all about that imagery and shit. But like, there is a time and a place.
You got it tattooed on you, I think, somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much all this shit is fucking
fire and brimstone.
Like, all it is, man. I got a big old fucking we don't need to talk about that.
Different times. Different podcast.
Chinaman is not the issue here, dude. It's Asian American, please. But yeah, his heart definitely in the right place. Like, take a step back. And I think like the sentiment is take a step back, right? Like, focus on what's truly important in life.
Your priorities, whatever they may be. Yeah.
Yes. If it's Jesus, great. Focus
on being family, a better. If it's whatever,
Focus
100%.
on being a better person. What if I had to say, I'd be like, take this time to work on not being such a dick.
Yeah.
Sorry
about bringing that up. Kairi Sane, Bullet Club. Back to that. Rewind.
Kairi Sane, Bullet Club. Man.
Anyway. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry.
Owen Butler may be the new cleaner on this show because he just straight up good night and good luck. Bam! His head. Right to Duce's forehead at the end of the show.
Straight up, I love you, I'm sorry. Super kicked me in the face.
I did. I'm sorry. Deuce, while we're here, give us, plug it all again. Wow, why not? Plug all your shit for us.
You can find us at facebook.com/Happy Hour Podcast Show. You can find all of our past episodes on soundcloud.com/Happy Hour Podcast. You can hit us up on the Twitter machine at HH Podcast Show, and you can send us your emails to hhpodcastshow@gmail.com. And guys, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me on tonight. It's been an honor and a privilege. I had so much fun, and I can't wait to come back.
Dude,
I ain't even gonna lie.
I think I vote that Duce can come back. I think we might even.
I'll second that.
Yeah, we'll entertain that thought. You know, we'll go to the writers' room.
We'll put it to emotion.
Everybody. Yeah. What do we say when we get out of here? Woo!